Welcome to Hypercritical, the first podcast episode. I'm John. I'm here with my guest, Aaron. How you doing?
Good. How are you today, John?
We're doing pretty good. All right. We are going to talk about today Sasquatch.
The elusive Sasquatch.
The elusive Sasquatch. Yes. Now, I don't know much about Sasquatch, but you do. So I intentionally didn't really do any research or anything. You know, I just know from pop culture Sasquatch. So what I did was I suggested a movie to you. And I said, because we were going to just talk about Sasquatch for the podcast. And I was like, well, I want the podcast to be about like movies and TV, things I'm into, Keep the theme going, something I could talk about without having to be like scripted and rehearsed and everything. So I suggested a movie called Suburban Sasquatch. And this movie is a low-budget B movie, I would say.
Possibly C.
Possibly C, yeah. I picked it because it's very poorly done, but in a good way. And I enjoy a lot of bad movies, and I'm always dying to talk to people about it. It's really hard to do that, so this is a good excuse to do that. So for anybody listening, if you want to watch Suburban Sasquatch, it is currently available on Tubi, which is a free app that you can watch videos on. Just a couple of commercials, not too bad.
It was maybe like 3 breaks.
Couple of breaks, yeah. So for our audience, I will read the synopsis for the movie, which you wrote up here. It says, 2 park rangers, a Native American warrior, and a journalist try to stop a giant ape-like creature as it goes on a suburban killing spree. And that's pretty much the whole movie.
It's all in the title.
It's all in the title. Now, what we did was we did not discuss what we thought of the movie or anything about the movie very deliberately, because I personally, if I say something once, it's going to come out really rehearsed as hell if I say it a second time. So I wanted it to be off the cuff, even if it comes out whatever, So I'm really excited because Aaron and I have been chomping at the bit to talk about this movie for about a couple of days now. So we're excited. So I hope you guys enjoy it. So I have a couple of notes, and you have some notes here. I'll pass back to you. I was trying to think of the best way to describe the movie. And I was thinking maybe the best way to do it is if we lists off the characters from the movie.
Yeah, kind of establish.
Yeah, so I have a little bit of a list here that I made up, and I want to see what you come up with. Let's start with like the main characters. Who would you say is the main character of Suburban Sasquatch?
So if I had to pick someone out, I would say it would be John the Ranger. Because he seems to be...
John the Ranger,
He appears to be in charge over Steve, the other ranger.
Yes, there are 2 park rangers, and I wasn't sure if they were cops or if they were park rangers. I think they're park rangers, but...
It says they're park rangers, but typically rangers don't carry guns.
Yeah, they also... Yeah, and their costumes, the costume design for the movie was amazing. They had a party, as a Spirit Halloween police hat with the emblem there that you get at like a gas station. They had just like little brown strips on their shirts to signify they were cops, I guess, or park rangers.
Say maybe like a brown tie to kind of pull it all
did.
Together,
They had like a little short, like Charlie Kelly brown tie.
I was gonna go with Dwight Schrute kind of
Dwight
tie.
Schrute, yeah, also another brown, yeah. So, so there's John, and the only reason I know his name is John is that later on in the movie, the other guy, which I'm not sure the other cop's name.
I think that's Steve. I want to say
it could be Steve,
the man with the random Brooklyn accent.
Yeah, because I wrote they're in my supporting cast. I have them as cops or park ranger. But yeah, they I would say John, yes, because John has a backstory. John has a backstory.
His trauma.
He has trauma. Him and his wife, Cheryl, I don't remember.
That was the only name I missed. I want to say her name was Celia.
Celia, maybe Celia.
I can't be 100%.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. But yeah, you find out later on that he's experienced the Sasquatch, and the reason he seems like such a bad cop or park ranger is that he's trying to get away from Sasquatch.
It seems like the case is almost too close to home for him.
Yeah.
And that's why he doesn't like talking or disclosing about it.
Yeah. But his wife was carried off by Sasquatch in the movie. And then he kind of just like drops it.
Yeah. It's like Sasquatch came and kidnapped his wife and like stepped on his knee and he fired a couple shots off and he kind of just like, it was never really talked about again.
That was it. Yeah.
That was it for the flashback.
Yeah, that was it for him. So yeah. So we got the two cops, the park rangers. Who else would you say is a main character in this movie?
Well, how could we forget about the Native American warrior?
Yes, Tala.
Tala.
Yes, we have a Native American warrior, which is basically just a woman with long black hair.
And Ugg boots. Yes,
she has Ugg boots, and she's got some like white clothes, but they look like modern clothes.
Yeah, it's like they tried the best. They tried the best to dress her native, but it's like they just had neutral tone colors and they just dressed her normally.
Yeah, they did. Yeah,
not a single feather or
no, nothing like
doesn't
that.
Seem to be any leather or anything. Nothing.
Yeah, there was nothing. Yeah, there was no like added. It was very low effort, but
I think we can go back to probably like the $50 budget. It's what they had laying around in their closet.
I'm thinking, like probably a lot of people wore their own clothes for this movie. Tala, she is the one that is hunting Sasquatch in the movie, and she's the only one that can do it because she has magical arrows
with the gem
in it. Yes,
arrows,
she carries around a quiver with some arrows that can kill him, because apparently the only way you can kill the Sasquatch in the lore of this movie, you can kill Sasquatch with a magical arrow.
That appears to be the.
That's how it works. But the only problem is she's not very good at shooting the arrows.
She needs to work on her shot a little bit.
She does, yeah, because she's like really close to him too a lot of times, you know.
She's always dodged, like she could seem to dodge like all of his moves and stuff, but can never hit him with the arrow.
Yeah, she's got like that G.I. Joe aim, where everybody just sort of they fire at everybody, but no hits. And then sometimes she has those axes, and she pulls out the axes, and then she does that. And then he gets hit with those, and then all the CGI,
the blood, the video game,
video game blood comes gushing out, and then it disappears because that's the kind of movie this is. So she's Tala is one of the main characters, and she was trained. I want to say trained or guided by her grandfather.
Yeah, at the beginning, it's like this elder is giving her a mission, but it doesn't really go into a lot of detail.
It really doesn't. It's just an old guy in it looks like he's in like a white bathrobe, like a terry cloth bathrobe, and he's just talking to her. And a lot of the shots are just really tight close-ups of his mouth.
Yeah, I even wrote that in my notes where they kind of like, they tried to make it very, let's see. Yeah, I have my notes here just say epic close-up on Chief.
Yeah, epic close-up. Yeah, that's what I was. Yeah, I did something too. Like I said, Native American warrior gets guidance from her grandfather's mouth. Yeah, because a lot of the shot, like when they finally cut back to a wide shot, I was like, oh, all right, it's
It's like they tried to make it dramatic and with a bunch of close shots and
and I noticed wherever they were, I think that scene was the same area where later on the mom gets dragged off. I think it's the backyard because it looked like the bushes in the background were the same. So I think they were like reusing locations.
Yeah, it was definitely like a grassy field, and it was probably just the house behind them.
Yeah, because the grass looked really like maintained, so it looked like a location, a house. All right, who else do we got? Who else you got in your list there?
Let's see. As far as main characters or any characters really in general?
You can just throw out any really.
Well, we got to talk about Rick.
Yes.
The journalist.
He's
He's kind of a main character.
He is, yeah. I think he's got kind of the hots for Tala, seems to me.
Oh, there has to be the B love story included, you know?
Yeah. And I'm surprised. I looked it up. It's not the writer-director that plays that guy, because I thought it would be. You know, like these people that write, direct, and do all these low-budget movies, they kind of give themselves the lead man role. He didn't do that. This is some other actor. I wrote it down somewhere. But yeah, he's the reporter that works for another guy called Boss Editor. His boss at the paper that he writes for.
Yeah, I didn't get the boss's name, but they definitely kind of portray him as like a no-nonsense type of boss.
Yeah, he's like the hard-nosed boss, but he was constantly saying like, you know, like we need a story. We need a story. And Rick keeps going like, I have a story. And he's like, you have the idea of a story. You don't have a story. Like this editor seems to want fully formed, already complete stories. I don't think that's how stories work. I think I have a story, I go and investigate it, but this guy was like, no, I don't want a story, I need a story. And it didn't make a lot, you know?
Yeah, their arguments or their conversations was kind of just like back and forth, like he wanted this prepackaged story, and it's like, well,
exactly.
That's not really how it works.
Yeah, he was like, we got to sell papers, you know? He said all the cliche things of like you know, we need to sell papers, whatever. The other thing I noticed is that when Rick went to his office, I was like, well, this looks like a middle school or something.
Yeah.
And then
totally.
his office, the boss's office is very clearly a classroom.
I was going to say, like, that could definitely be a classroom or like an administration office. Like,
yeah, I think maybe the police officers precinct or whatever, I think that was probably like a faculty office. And then the newspaper was probably like a classroom, because like in some of the shots, there's stuff on the walls. It looks like student art projects.
That's a good.
I did notice at one point in maybe the second scene in the office, the school, the team was having practice. If you look out the window, they're having like football practice in the background. So it's a school for sure. But I did like that, because you know, when you do these low budget movies, you work with what you got. You know. Let me see, who else do I have for like people? All right, so I had the mom that gets taken by Sasquatch. Yep. And I realized that anybody that's listening to this, we're not really laying out the synopsis of the story, because I pretty much did that when I read the synopsis, is that there's just people in a suburban town, and then Sasquatch comes and just rips them limb from limb.
Yeah, they really just introduce the characters, and then the bloodbath starts.
Yeah.
There's not really much more than that.
Yeah, because there was I'll skip over to the others. I have other characters. People that get attacked. There's the guy and the girl driving in the car at the beginning of the movie.
Yep.
You know, they're going somewhere to a party, whatever, and
I enjoyed that just because the movie was made in 2004.
Yeah.
And I was probably around the same age as those people, so it was kind of like how I was dressing at that time.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Got hit with
he did look like he came from 2004 for sure.
Like
yeah.
He had the chunky chain on.
Yeah, I got a screen capture of him right now. I'm looking down at it. Yeah, with his glasses and his ball cap, and he's got the bored girlfriend, and they're acting up a storm. You know, like really good. We got the fisherman, of course.
That was one of my favorite scenes.
That is a good one. Yeah, the fisherman, the Suburban Sasquatch rips his arm off, one of the guys.
Yeah, I believe his heart was also ripped out.
And fed to him. Yes,
yep, that's the scene.
His heart was ripped out and fed to him, which I have a screen capture of that too.
It looked like it was a Jello heart or something.
Yeah. It's kind of it's not a gross movie. It's just, despite like limbs getting whatever, it's very like tame somehow.
And when we say limbs, I think we're literally talking about mannequin props.
Like
yeah. 90s computer game graphics.
Yes. Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah. And then one of the fishermen gets his arms ripped off by Sasquatch, and then the Sasquatch throws the arm and hits the other guy in the chest, and that's enough to incapacitate him. And he ends up floating in the river. He doesn't die. He wakes up later on, and he's fine.
Yeah.
Maybe he was playing possum. Maybe he was just like, I'm going to just act like this guy.
Let the Sasquatch get my buddy, and I'm going to just float away here.
Yeah, now just sort of like, get out of here. Yeah. There's two girl hikers for no reason that show up, and then I don't expect you to even remember them because it was like one scene.
I do remember because I took pretty good notes.
Yeah.
And I want to say that's right before like the Bigfoot started to attack the cars.
Yeah.
Kind of ramped it up a little bit.
Yeah, that's when things started to go. There's an assorted number of I call them rednecks because it reminds me of Halloween 4. I don't know if you've ever seen Halloween 4.
I haven't seen that.
But at the end of Halloween 4, the town gets frustrated and just a bunch of like rednecks at the bar, they pile into a bunch of trucks and they go hunting Michael Myers.
Oh, the old pitchfork.
Yeah. So that's what this movie, there's a couple of groups of people that decide that they're going to go after him. But of course, they don't have the magic arrow, so they're just shooting him, you know. And he takes out like a whole group of them at one point. And there's one point, I don't know if you remember this, but like they're just running at him with their guns.
Was that with the two girls or?
No, I'm jumping around. The rednecks when.
Oh, hold on, I've got notes on that. It's Zeke and the boys.
Zeke
yes,
and the thank you. Zeke and the boys.
Yeah.
They started out good. Zeke and the boys started out good. You know, they really built up Zeke. Like Zeke was like, you know.
They were like calling in the big guns.
Yeah. I like that the two cops, like Zeke's on it. And then for some reason they claimed victory, like he had done it. But there was no indication that anything good had happened. And they're like, Zeke did it, guy. It's over. It's over, man.
We can breathe.
Yeah, we can breathe. And they're in the middle of getting dismembered, you know? And then Zeke and his friends at some point decide like the guns are not going to work. And they just start charging at Sasquatch. And they, with the guns in their hand, they're charging at him. And he's just like
pushing the barrel away.
Yeah. He's just pushing him away. And then this was my favorite random person. Hot Dog Realtor. Do you remember Hot Dog Realtor?
I don't remember Hot Dog Realtor.
There's a scene where there is a woman with sunglasses. And there's a real big close up of her just mowing on a hot dog.
She's eating the dog in the car.
In the car with her friend.
I do remember that.
Yes, because I have Hot Dog Realtor and Not Good Friend. Because they're not really listening to each other. You know, they're both having conversations, but it's kind of like this one's talking and then the other one is just waiting for their turn to talk, you know? And they're sort of like, they're in like it
looks like a development.
And they can't seem to find their way out.
When you think it would just be like a cul-de-sac.
Well, yeah, a cul-de-sac. It's like a keyhole. You just keep going and eventually you're out. Yeah. No. I just thought that was funny because it was just like she's just mowing on a hot dog in her car and she's got a friend and they're neither one of them's listening to each other. And I don't even remember. Did they get attacked or did they get away?
I want to say the Sasquatch ran in front of the car and then I don't know if he flipped that one or if he just kind of left and
I know he flipped the police car.
He did flip the police car
because that was
with Steve in it.
With Steve in it, yes. And how would you describe the special effects when he picks up the car?
It's almost as if they did a still picture of the police car and then the Sasquatch lifted up like the still picture of the car. Yeah.
And then they did the distort angle thing a little bit, and then the car went to the side, and then it was like a South Park. Yeah. It was a South Park type move. Yeah, it was. That's when I was like, all right, this is fantastic. This is a great movie. I have another guy. I don't even remember who he is. He was like the friend of the reporter. Do you remember that guy?
Yeah, that's when he sits down with Rick, I believe, and I think doesn't he almost tell him to like give up or like
yeah, I think he does.
He's like, you're wasting your time, kid.
Yeah,
or like something like that.
He was like the supportive friend, but he just said all the wrong things. Yeah. So.
Yeah, they got like a quick lunch together, and
that was it for that guy.
And then we never saw him.
You never saw him again. We also have Rick's grandma.
Oh yeah, we got a little religious there.
We did. I called her Grandma Jesus. I wrote down here Grandma Jesus. Yeah, she was, because out of nowhere, I was like, oh, is this movie gonna be like have like a religious angle to it? Whatever.
It felt like that.
It did feel like that. Yeah, because I was like, oh, is this gonna take a weird turn? Like, you just need faith, Rick. You know.
And he's looking at his phone like, oh, how come you're not telling me or giving me the signal, God. And,
Yeah. Oh, right. Yeah.
But he's kind of, he's looking at the crime scene again. And, he thinks he's missing something and he's kind of waiting for that sign. And,
yes. He does get a sign later in the movie, and I'm going to discuss that. Then we have the mom that gets taken away by Sasquatch. I called her Xanax mom.
I don't think I ever got her name, but I know Timmy was
Timmy.
her son.
Yes, yeah. Timmy's the son. And then I called her Xanax mom just because she just seemed kind of like out of it. And she's like, I need to clean the house, Timmy. Go outside and do some... Yeah. Go play, Timmy. I need to clean the house.
She was very calm.
Yeah.
And her chores were just like her, like wiping the wall. It wasn't like she was sweeping or anything. It's like she was weirdly wiping down the wall.
Yeah, so. Like she was really hyper-focused on something very bizarre. It was... I was like, okay. And so I just gave everybody a little pet name. That was my little pet name for her. So there's a couple of parts where I thought were like there was special effects or like revealing mistakes, as they call them on IMDb. Obviously, all the limbs getting ripped off of people, they cut to a different angle and they got the limbs back. So there's a lot of that going on. When somebody bleeds or whatever, it's that animated geyser burst and it doesn't match up with everything. When Sasquatch is in the house near the later part of the movie, when he breaks down a door, did you notice anything when he breaks down that door?
Yep. When after he broke it down, the door was opened.
Right, exactly. They didn't even take it off the hinge.
I caught that, yeah.
Yeah, so there was a closed door. And the Sasquatch breaks through it. So there's like an animated like smashing door. Mm-hmm. And then it disappears and it's like he busted the door. The door exploded. But if you look, they just took the door and they just opened it. And it's still in the shot. Yeah, and you can still see the door. All they did was open it. So they didn't even just, it's just three things. You just hammer them out. Even I can do it. I'm not handy, but I can do it.
Would have taken 2 minutes.
It would have taken 2 minutes, but they were just like, no, just open the door. They don't.
It's good enough.
It's fine. And then at the end of the movie, I remember the grandma. This made me laugh when the Sasquatch attacks her, but she's okay. And he's like, "Are you okay, Grandma?" And she's like, "That's all right. I've been through tougher times." Like you've been through worse than a Sasquatch attack.
She's had to pick herself up by her bootstraps.
She has,
times,
yes,
so.
And she has had to pick herself up by her bootstraps, and I think she's put her faith in the Lord, and she knows that it'll all be all right. It'll all be all right. So, what else do I got here? My thing fell asleep on me. Oh, right. There's a part in the movie. So again, like, I really think people should watch this movie. You should go to Tubi and watch it. There are two versions of the movie. You want to watch the Suburban Sasquatch. I think it's called it's a Dark Moon film or something. That's the name of the production company. And then there's another one where it says Riff Tracks. And you don't want to watch the Riff Tracks one because that's like Mystery Science Theater people doing commentary while you watch the movie. I think it's more fun to do your own commentary. So I didn't watch that one. I didn't want to incidentally steal a joke I heard or whatever. So I didn't do that, but I think people would enjoy it. Now it's an hour and 37 minutes.
It was a little over an hour and a half. Yeah.
I thought it did drag at times.
There were definitely some scenes that they probably could have cut.
I think any scene with Rick and Tala where they're in with her camping gear, sort of
in like the tent.
In the tent, in the woods, just doing stuff. I'm making something go click, click.
I think it's the spring.
Is it the spring?
On your boom mic.
Oh, okay. Right here. All right. I keep hearing something. I didn't know if it was me or not. And then, what was I saying about Rick?
How we cut some.
Oh yeah, that could have gotten cut a little bit. It was a little draggy, and I was like, all right, this movie would probably have zipped a little better if they cut some of it out. Because I was like looking at it, and I was like, there's still 30 minutes to go.
Yeah, they did a lot of like maybe at the beginning they did a lot of like kind of background information and building all the characters up, and some of it was unnecessary, definitely.
Some of it was, yeah. And then when they did like the exposition about the Sasquatch, I thought it could have been a little bit more concise. You know, they seem to have the same conversation a little bit over and over again. But there's one part near the end where he has a bad dream and he wakes up and Tala has carved him
the turtle.
The turtle, right. She carved him a turtle. Now, she carves in this turtle and she gives it to him. And from what I can tell, he likes this woman, you know?
Definitely.
And she gives him this turtle. And he looks at it and he says something like, what am I supposed to do with this? And he just chucks the turtle.
Yeah, he tosses
it aside. And then she continues on with the conversation. Now, if I was Tala, I would be like, I worked on that all night long.
Right. You know? I spent hours
carving this turtle, and he just like throws it. He just disregards it.
And she doesn't even bring it up.
She doesn't. She let it go. She was very, I would have been, I would have been like, if I were her, I would have been like, what the hell? Dude, I've been working on
appreciate this gift.
Yeah, exactly. Like this is a magical, and I thought it was gonna come back like at the end, like the turtle was gonna.
Yeah, I think he just kind of keeps it at the end as like a keepsake, but it's not anything more than that. Like
I was waiting for it to be like a
magical
something. Like I thought it was gonna like come back around at the end. Like a story,
right?
Like when something's introduced in the story, it usually comes back later on.
It kind of flirts that she has some magical powers, but they never really, beside her making the tent disappear, she doesn't really...
Yeah, I know, at the end.
Yeah, it's like, let me just clean up and make all this disappear.
Yeah, she doesn't have any real magical powers, but then right at the end of the movie, she's like, I have to go. And he's like, oh all right, And then she just looks at her tent that she got at like, Dick's Sporting Goods or whatever, right. And she just like, it just
vanishes.
It just vanishes, and I'm like, oh, okay. I guess you can do that,
You could have been doing that the whole movie.
Yeah, yeah. So I know you're a Sasquatch person. So I want to know, like, some of the powers that Sasquatch has in this movie. They don't seem. I don't know. Do Sasquatches have the ability to vanish and teleport?
Well, it's funny you mentioned that because that's actually a hot topic in the Sasquatch community.
Really? Okay.
So there are. Essentially, it's divided into two groups: people who think it's a flesh and blood animal or possibly a hominid, and then there's the other group of people that think it's more mystical, like a spirit, and that's kind of more like the Native American thought about it.
Okay,
is that it's not an actual physical being.
Oh, all right. Okay.
So those are kind of the two different schools of thought, and if it's more the natives who believe in the spirit, that they will say it'll disappear or.
Okay. All right, because I was seeing that, and I was like, I was like, is that just a bad special effect? And then they started saying like, oh, he's disappearing, and
And that's kind of how I thought it was in the movie too. How it was just like a bad effect because he would like run away and
it was like instead of him just going on, just have him into the darkness.
Like he faded out.
Yeah, exactly. But I was like, then they started saying he can just teleport, and
But then he doesn't really ever teleport.
He doesn't really teleport to any good effect. Like he doesn't use it for anything. Yeah. If anything, he catches people through the magic of editing, because there'll be somebody and they'll be like trying to get away from him, and then they'll show Sasquatch coming at them, and then the next cut, he's already got them. You never see him actually catching the person. It would always cut, and he's already got them.
Well, it's like the Jason walk, he's like the unstoppable machine.
Right, yeah. And that was the other thing about that I wrote about Jason. It reminded me of Friday the 13th, Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. Mm-hmm. In that one, Jason gets the power to teleport, which he never could before in any other movie. But in that movie, all of a sudden, he just has teleportation. He can teleport, yeah. So this Sasquatch has the Jason powers from Jason Takes Manhattan, which was filmed mostly in Vancouver, by the way.
It's a fun fact.
Yeah, it's a fun fact. Yeah, they only did like 2 scenes in New York because it was like.
So it must have been cheaper to film it.
It was cheaper. Yeah, it was the last movie that they did on Paramount Pictures before like they lost the rights, whatever. That's why all the movies after that were like Jason this, Jason that. They couldn't call him Friday the 13th anymore.
Oh, so that's probably why they called them all Freddy versus Jason.
Freddy versus Jason, Jason X, Jason Goes to Hell, all those movies. Yeah. I was talking about superpowers, the lore, the exposition. Troubled Moon Films is the name of the company. And the guy that made this movie, his name is David Wascavage. And he's not the lead actor. He's one of the fishermen. I think he's Dave the fisherman.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to ask, because I kind of looked up the credits too, and I noticed that John, the lead ranger, he was also the Sasquatch.
Yeah, a lot of people were the Sasquatch, I think, because they had in the IMDb, it was like their character, and then it was like / Bigfoot / like they played multiple roles.
So probably depending on the scene and who was in it.
Yeah, they had to work with who they had there. There was a lot of bad choices in the movie. I think a lot of people made bad choices. Do you remember? And again, there's just random scenes of new characters that you never met, and you're never going to meet them again after the scene. There was a woman and her husband, and they were in like a wood panel. I thought it was a basement because it was like all wood paneled, and it looked like a finished basement from 1970, but it was above ground.
Yes, I remember that. It was almost like it might have been like a really nice
trailer. Yeah. And she's knitting or something on the couch, and her husband he's like Joe Blue Collar. He's got like the flannel shirt, he's got the jeans, he looks like he works like a regular old job, and he's in front of the TV and he's just kind of
Yes, I remember
he's just kind of dancing. But it was like it didn't, you know what I mean?
It wasn't really relevant to
It was that was relevant to nothing. And then the wife notices Sasquatch is coming. I think she goes outside.
I forget if she lets the dog out or what.
Yeah.
How they actually discover him that time.
Yep. But she notices it, and then she runs inside the house and she screams, "Harold, it's a monster." And what Harold decides to do when he hears this is to open the front door of the house and get mauled by Sasquatch.
Great survival skills.
Yeah. It's a monster. He just walks up to the door, and I think you can even see the silhouette of Sasquatch on the other side of the door, and he's like, let's just see. Yeah. I guess he was skeptical, whatever, like one of those like bad married couples in the thing, like, shut up, you don't know what you're talking about. There's no Sasquatch,
She's making stuff up.
Yeah. But it was just a strange thing. Here's something that I thought was pretty good. When Rick, the writer, is looking for Tala, our Native American, not a marksman, he's looking for her and he can't find her. And I think maybe he asked God there, like, how do I find her or whatever? Mm-hmm. And then there's these animated clip art birds that come flying out.
And the eagle or the crow, whatever
and
it is.
Yeah. And then he starts following the birds.
And it leads him to the secret lair.
And they lead him to the secret lair, the cave where Sasquatch is keeping the mom. And I think he's keeping somebody. Oh, Tala. He's got Tala. Yeah. Right. That's what happens first. He finds the cave, which I think is just a room with trash bags.
I would imagine that seems to be the effect.
It didn't look like, it wasn't a cave, that's for sure. Even though they were in the woods and they could have used one, it did look like it was just trash bags and lined up against the wall. But whatever. And then he rescues Tala, and I think he obviously rescues the mom too, I guess.
I think in the scene before, the mom gets like eaten.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, poor Timmy.
Yeah, Timmy.
Prayers up for Timmy.
But yeah, I think she gets eaten, and it's only Tala that's rescued.
Yeah. And so when Rick finds Tala, she goes, "How did you find me?" And I don't remember what he said. I think he didn't say anything. Like, "How did you find me?"
I can't recall, but I don't think they ever reference the birds or the eagle or whatever it is.
I wrote down, "How did you find me?" And I wrote, "A little birdie told me," was the obvious response. How did you find me? A little bird, because the bird led him to them, Right.
In my notes, I have crows lead Rick to Talia and Megan in a cave, and then I have Megan crossed off because she must have gotten
she was
eaten.
done. Yep. She's
Nope.
No more of her. Yeah. So I enjoy these kind of movies. you know, and there's different types of bad movies. There's bad movies where they're poorly done, but they don't keep your interest, you know? I like a movie that's weird and a little bad. Sometimes a horror movie that's bad is more disturbing than a good horror movie because it's like just the way it's so awkward sets you at ease. It gives you unease.
That like uncanny feeling.
Yeah. Like it's not right. Something's not right. And it's like just because it's poorly done. But you can do it poorly done and you can get a certain effect out of it, you know? This movie, I would say, is more for laughs.
It's what I wish I could make in high school.
Yeah.
You know, that's kind of the quality. It appeared to be like a high school or maybe a college project.
Yeah. I read somewhere today that it was like made for like a couple $100. I don't think that's accurate because that doesn't seem right.
I don't know. I believe that.
Yeah. Because it was made for like $550. And I was like, well, I didn't have time to research that. But I was like, it seems like they need a little bit more.
Maybe they use the school lab with the editing software, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people did a lot of the same jobs, so there was a lot of that going on. But overall, I had a good time watching it.
It was enjoyable. It's like a car crash you can't look away from.
Exactly, yeah. It's got that kind of feel to it. I had all these notes, but I put them in layers so I could kind of like go over them and then cross them out. But now I'm not doing that now that I'm here. There's a line where Tala, I think, is saying, it smells like him, Sasquatch. She's like, it smells like him. I know he's near.
So I have a couple quotes as well, too. And I think this is almost like the double wide trailer we were talking about.
Yeah.
Because someone says, I can taste him.
His presence. Yeah, I wrote that too.
Yeah.
I can taste his presence.
Yeah, in regard to Sasquatch.
Can you smell him or can you taste his presence or what is going on there? Oh, I as far as like the door smashing and goofs like that, when one of the groups of guys that goes after Sasquatch, they incapacitate him for a short period of time.
And they throw the net on him.
They throw the net on him. Now, you would think you would just buy a net for the scene where you throw a net on Sasquatch. But for some reason, the net is animated.
It certainly was a digital net.
It's a digital net, and it's like moving on him. And it's like on the Sasquatch, but the net has got a life of its own, as if like it's in a windstorm or whatever, but nothing else is happening. And it was just an odd choice. Well, the first part is when they get the net, they throw it over him, and it kind of just goes over his head a little bit.
It's like covers the top half.
It covers the top half of his head, and they're like, we got him, you know?
Yes.
And then he's down on the ground, and the net just starts wiggling, and I'm like, what's happening here? Yeah, it's like that's these odd choices.
And I think that's when he actually gets into like the physical fight with all the guys, even though they have the guns.
Even though they have the guns, yeah. They decide to just rush him. And in this movie, sometimes like a hit will either kill you or you'll just roll. Depends on which character you are, you know, whether you survive or not. There is some pronunciation things in the movie I thought were kind of interesting, like the way people said some lines.
I didn't notice.
You didn't notice anything? No. Did you not notice when Rick was talking about writing a story, the story of his lifetime or whatever? Mm-hmm. He did say this more than once. He goes, "This is my only chance at a Pulitzer."
I didn't even catch that. So he was trying to say Pulitzer?
He says Pulitzer about 3 times in the movie, yeah. And I'm like, you probably should know how to say it if you want it, you know?
You know, playing devil's advocate, I know it was filmed in Pennsylvania. I don't know if that's like...
Maybe they have it, yeah, maybe they have
an accent.
Yeah, I don't know the accents over there, you know? And one of the cops tries to say, says, Polish jurisdiction. And he was trying to say, I guess, police jurisdiction, but it came out Polish jurisdiction, which sounds like he was had a few.
Can we talk about how Steve had the other cop or ranger has a random like Brooklyn accent?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like he just put the accent on to like become a character and just like, I'm a Brooklyn cop, even though
he wasn't.
Suburbs of Pennsylvania. So.
Right. Yeah. I think that was like I did some research, and that guy, he was in another movie by this Westcavage guy. It's some movie called Tartarus, which I've never seen, but he's the lead actor in that. So he might be like one of those guys. Like, I'm going to make a choice. I'm going to make an acting choice. Right. And this guy's going to be from Brooklyn. You know,
out of all the people, he seemed to be the most like he had the most experience acting in front of the camera.
Yeah,
I'm not saying he was good.
He wasn't good, but I mean, he was
a little better than everyone.
Pretty
else,
much everybody else in the movie. Yeah, yeah, I agree with that. I just every time he said Pulitzer, I wrote Pulitzer in quotes in my notes.
I'm kind of disappointed I missed that now. You know?
Yeah, because I thought I heard it the first time he said it, so I wrote Pulitzer, and then like later on he said it again, and I wrote Pulitzer, and then I was going through my notes, and I'm like, I already had. So I had like in different places in my notes, it just said Pulitzer, Pulitzer, Pulitzer. But yeah, that's I don't know. It's just a crazy movie, crazy movie. But I thought that would be like a fun way to kind of like ease into talking about Sasquatch, because it was just like, obviously it's not, you know, I don't know much about Sasquatch lore. The only thing I know is from like pop culture and stuff. Like I know like in Red Dead Redemption, the first one, I think you hunt Sasquatch in that game.
Yeah, and I know he's actually in Grand Theft Auto 5 as well, too.
Yeah, because they always have those hidden Easter egg type stuff.
Yeah, that's what it is. If you collect, I think it's a bunch of pieces of the spaceship or UFO. You find Sasquatch eventually.
Yep. Yeah, but in the Red Dead Redemption, I think you leave only one, and he's like the last of his kind, and it's very sad. It's very tragic, you know. And he's like he's a gentle giant, you know,
the forest giant.
Yeah, exactly. So are most tales of Sasquatch, is he a violent creature or is he benevolent?
Well, kind of neither.
Okay.
They're assuming they're real.
Right.
You know, they appear to be very, very shy and stay away from humans. And, you know, I don't know if that is because, you know, maybe they ran into humans in the past and there was a violent confrontation, or if it's just part of their self-preservation where they just know to stay away from us. But it seems that they want nothing to do with us, if possible. Well,
it's a good read, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
Humans were the only one who destroyed the planet that we live on. So
exactly. Yeah.
Maybe the Sasquatch, they know.
Yes, we should take our lead from the Sasquatch. I know you had a story. Did you want to like set up the story?
Yeah, I'd be happy to kind of set the stage for that. And, so there's a few historical stories regarding Sasquatch. And I thought this one was interesting because it was actually featured in Theodore Roosevelt's book, Our President. So, you know, the fact that a president is talking about it, I feel like it holds water than like just some random guy saying like, oh, my brother's cousin saw Sasquatch that time. And
sure, yeah.
You know, everyone's got stories like that. But
right.
Coming from Teddy, I feel like it holds a little more value.
Yeah.
So, I'd be happy to kind of jump into it and read the script.
Absolutely. Yeah, dive right in.
Yeah, let's do it. Okay. So here's a little intro. It's called The Bowman Story.
Okay.
That would be his last name.
Yes.
So and here we go. Presidential frontiersman, Rough Rider Teddy Roosevelt began writing his soon-to-be published book in 1890. Titled The Wilderness Hunter, the author writes of a grizzled, weather-beaten trapper by the name of Bowman, whose figure of a man reminded me of actor Robert Redford's portrayal of the legendary woodsman tracker, Jeremiah Johnson. Mm-hmm. Us younger folks might remember him from the meme where he just goes...
The nod.
The nod.
Yep.
The nod of approval.
Yeah, you got it. I didn't even realize that was Robert Redford until like he died.
Yep, and
because he looks like a bulky guy in that meme, and I'm like, I thought it was like Grizzly Adams or something. Or
I think he was playing Grizzly Adams.
Maybe that's what it is. Yeah, but for some reason I was like, that's not Robert Redford. But it is.
Yeah, I learned that too when he passed away.
Yeah, so I was a little late to that one, but yeah. But anyway, sorry.
Well, we're honoring him now. So.
Yes, we are.
So Bowman was German-born, and he lived all of his life out on the early frontier. And Roosevelt must have some degree of belief in Bowman's tale to include it in his book. So, Teddy, he wasn't fooled by tall tales very easily.
Yep.
So that's why it seems important that he included it, because I tend to believe that he believed it.
Right.
Otherwise, he wouldn't have included it. So we'll just get right into it. And it's one of Idaho's best-known horror stories. It tells the story of two trappers who set out on a beaver hunt in the still remote alpine terrain of the beautiful Salmon River countryside. This portion of the Salmon River is located in the Bitterroot Mountains between the state of Idaho and Montana. To this day, stories of the Sasquatch come out of this part of the virgin wilderness. Roosevelt wrote that the previous year, a trapper's body had been found torn to bits and partially eaten by an unknown beast, which left enormous human foot tracks in its wake. And just as a little side note, bears do not leave human footprints.
Right. Yep.
Oblivious to what should have been warning to the senses, these two men journeyed deep into the wilderness's remote regions, moving campsites from one creek to another in search of a satisfactory place in which to place their beaver traps. And here's the famous excerpt from the Bowman from Roosevelt's book. Frontiersmen aren't usually very superstitious. Their lives are too hard and practical for that, and they don't spend much time thinking about the supernatural. In all my years living on the frontier, I heard very few ghost stories, and the ones I did hear were pretty ordinary. But once I heard a story that genuinely stayed with me. It was told by a grizzled old mountain hunter named Bowman, who had been born and raised on the frontier and spent nearly his entire life there. He clearly believed every word. Now and then he involuntarily shuddered as he spoke. He was of German descent, and he had probably grown up hearing all kinds of ghost and goblin tales. So it may be that the old superstitions were buried in his mind. He also knew the stories told by Indian medicine men around their winter fires, stories of the snow walkers and formless spirits that haunt the forest and stalk travelers in the dark. It's possible, terrified by what happened to his friend and overwhelmed by the fear of the unknown, Bowman later attributed supernatural traits to what may have been nothing more than a vicious and unusually clever wild animal. But no one can say for sure. The incident happened when Bowman was a young man trapping with a partner in the mountains between the forks of the Salmon River and the headwaters of the Wisdom. Their luck hadn't been good, so they decided to climb into a particularly wild, isolated pass with a small stream rumored to have plenty of beavers. The place had a bad reputation. Just a year before, a lone hunter had been found, half-eaten, apparently by some wild animal. Prospectors had passed his camp the night before and found his remains the next day. This didn't bother the two trappers much, as they were tough and daring as any. They left their thin mountain ponies in a beaver meadow at the base of the pass, since the steep forested ground above was too rough for the horses. From there, they went on foot into the vast, dark timber. After 4 hours, they came to a small opening in the trees where they decided to camp, since there were plenty of signs of game. There was still an hour or two of daylight left. They built a brush lean-to, dropped their packs, and headed upstream. The forest was dense and hard to move through because of the fallen timber, though occasionally they passed small meadows of mountain grass. By dusk, they were back at camp. The clearing wasn't wide, and tall pines and firs surrounded it like a solid wall. A small stream ran along one side with a steep forest mountainside beyond. While they were gone, something, apparently a bear, had come into camp, rummaged through their gear, scattered their packs, and even destroyed their lean-to. The tracks were easy to see, but at first they didn't pay much attention. They focused on rebuilding the shelter, laying out their bedding, and starting a fire. While Bowman got supper ready, his partner began studying the tracks more closely. Soon he grabbed a burning stick and followed the tracks along a game trail leading out of camp. When the flame went out, he returned for another and repeated his examination. Then he came back, stood by the fire, stared into the dark, and said suddenly, Bowman, that bear was walking on 2 legs. Bowman laughed, but his partner insisted. When they looked again by the torchlight, the tracks really did seem to have been made by 2 feet instead of 4, though it was too dark to be certain. After debating whether they could possibly be human tracks, and deciding they couldn't, the 2 men rolled up in their blankets under the lean-to and went to sleep. Around midnight, Bowman woke to a noise. As soon as he had sat up, he smelled a strong, wild animal odor, and he saw the outline of a large shape at the mouth of the lean-to. He grabbed his rifle and fired at the shadow, but must have missed because he heard something crash through the underbrush and disappear into the pitch-black forest. They barely slept after that, keeping the fire going and taking turns watching. They heard nothing else. In the morning, they checked the traps they had set and put out new ones. Without discussing it, they stayed together all day, returning to camp toward evening. As they approached, they saw, not surprisingly, that the lean-to had been destroyed again. Their visitor had come back, scattering their equipment and bedding and smashing the shelter. The tracks were everywhere, and along the soft ground by the stream, they were as clear as footprints in the snow. After studying them closely, both men felt sure that whatever it was had walked only on 2 legs. Now thoroughly uneasy, they piled up a huge stack of dead logs and kept a roaring fire all night, taking turns standing guard. Around midnight, the creature came down the opposite hillside across the brook and stayed there nearly an hour. They could hear branches snapping as it moved, and several times it let out a harsh, scraping, drawn-out moan, a chilling sound, but it did not come near the fire. In the morning, after discussing the strange events of the past day and a half, the men decided to pack up and leave the valley that afternoon. They were even more ready to go because, despite seeing plenty of game signs, they had caught very little fur. First, though, they needed to collect their traps. They kept together all morning, gathering one empty trap after another. From the moment they left camp, they felt the uneasy sense of being followed. In the thick spruce, they sometimes heard a branch snap after they passed, or a faint rustle in the small pines off to the side. By noon, they were within a couple miles of the camp. In the bright sunlight, their fears seemed ridiculous to 2 armed woodsmen used to facing every kind of danger. 3 traps remained at a small pond in a wide ravine. Bowman volunteered to get them while his partner went ahead and prepared the sacks back at camp. At the pond, Bowman found 3 beavers in the traps, one of which had been dragged into a lodge. It took him several hours to secure and prepare the beavers, and when he had started back, he noticed uneasily how low the sun was. The silence and loneliness of the forest weighed on him as he moved quickly beneath the tall trees. His steps were silent on the pine needles, and the slanting light made a dim gray twilight in which distant shapes seemed to shimmer. There was no breeze, and the stillness of the primeval forest was absolute. At last he reached the edge of the little clearing where their camp lay and called out, but he got no answer. The fire was out, though a thin ribbon of smoke still drifted upwards. The packs were wrapped and ready near the hearth. At first Bowman saw no one. He called again. Still no reply. Then he saw his partner's body lying beside the trunk of a huge fallen spruce. He ran to it, horrified. The body was still warm, but the man's neck was broken and there were forged large fang marks in his throat. The deep tracks around the site told the whole story. After finishing the packing, the man had sat on the log facing the fire, his back to the woods. The creature, whatever it was, had been lurking, waiting for a chance to catch one of them off guard. Moving silently and seemingly still on 2 legs, it had crept up behind him, wrenched his head back with its forelimbs, broken his neck, and bitten his throat. It hadn't eaten the body, but apparently rolled and played around in savage glee before disappearing into the silent depths of the forest. shaken beyond endurance, and conceived he was dealing with something half human or half demon, a kind of goblin beast, Bowman abandoned everything but his rifle and fled down the pass. He didn't stop until he reached the beaver meadows where the ponies were grazing. Mounting one, he rode throughout the night without stopping until he felt safely beyond reach of pursuit.
Okay.
And that is the tale that Teddy Roosevelt included in his book. So to me, he must have felt that this story was truthful.
He must have felt it had some legitimacy if he's going to put it in his book, as opposed to just somebody telling a bar story to him.
Yeah.
Or a saloon or whatever they had back then.
Yeah, and a lot of people also need to consider that Teddy was a very big naturalist. So he knows the difference between animals. And
he could. Was he like a tracker? Would he be able to like?
I don't know if he was a tracker.
That's more of a Native American thing.
Yeah, that's a separate skill set. But he was very comfortable in the woods. You know, he knows all the plants and animals. He knows, what they do day to day. And this seems very odd and
so it didn't add up to him.
It was very out of the ordinary.
Yeah. You know what I think? I think would have saved the guy that
he's never named. It's just Bowman.
Yeah. It would have saved him, I think, if Sasquatch had the signature sound
at like the movie
from the movie. I don't want to put you on the spot, but how would you describe the sound in the movie that Sasquatch makes?
I did see it about 2 days ago, but I want to say
I'll do it too. So I'm not putting you on the spot.
Yeah, you want to go first because I forget exactly what it sounds like, but when I heard it, I was like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, it sounds a little like this, and I've never heard it through headphones. It sounds decent in my own head. I don't know when I do it in headphones, but if anybody watches this movie, Sasquatch, when he's attacking, makes a very specific sound. It plays frequently in the movie.
Oh, yeah.
And it goes a little something like this.
You nailed it.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. You guys don't know if you're listening, but I nailed it. You can't tell because you haven't seen it, but it's good. Maybe you should see it to see if I did a good job. Maybe that's a B incentive to watch the movie, to see if I did a good job.
Can you do a better impersonation than John?
Yes. See if maybe somebody can do it better than that. It did sound better in my head than when I did it there. There was a little more. I had a little more of like a high pitch to it because
it was better than what I could have done.
That
is how they made it sound in the movie.
Yeah, but that's it's that sound. Anytime you hear it, you know he's on the move. Yeah. So we're almost at an hour, if you can believe that.
Wow.
Yeah, we're at like 58 minutes according to the machine, the Roadcaster here. So this is the first podcast I've ever done.
Me too, yeah.
Ever. And I want to keep doing it. I basically just came up with an idea for a show, and it's going to be me talking about movies, TV, things that are maybe obscure. I'm not against popular things, but I tend to watch a little more.
Kind of more the strange and weird, right?
Yeah, the strange and weird. But a lot of people like strange and weird now. People watch stuff like that. So I'm hoping to do more of these and get more comfortable and know what I'm doing and know what all the buttons on these machines do and everything. And be more of a polished speaker. But I think that went really good, and I appreciate you coming on and helping me through this with our friend Jackie here, who's off camera Jackie. There she is. For moral support. So I named the show hyper/critical because I tend to be extremely critical when it comes to entertainment, and I tend to get worked up about it. Not mad, just excited and worked up.
There's a difference.
There is a difference because sometimes I'll talk about something and I'll be like really like into it.
It's passion.
It's passion. It's what it is. It's passion. And sometimes people will think like, oh, he's all worked up. And it's like, well, no, I just get into it. I like conversation. I find conversation to be very stimulating. It's like one of the things I love to do the most is to just sit and have a conversation with somebody. I think that's like one of the greatest things in life is to just talk to somebody.
And man, it was killing me for the last day or two.
I know, yeah, to not talk about it because we work together, and so we had to come in and be like, I don't want to say anything, you know, but we have things to talk about, and we were like, yes, we do. We have lots of things to talk about because that movie, yeah, that is one of the movie where you have to sit there with notes because it's gonna pass you by, but
it's chaotic in like a good way.
It is very good, yeah. So that was great. I enjoyed this, and thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thank you for having me. And I'd love to come
Yeah,
again
I would love to have you back
keep
too.
this going.
Yeah, and maybe I can corral Jackie to get on camera. We can talk about some David Lynch movies or something. Because
just a little bit of peer pressure, you know?
Yeah.
No big deal.
Yeah, no big deal. Not putting you on the spot or anything. But anyway, that's it. That's the show. We did it. It's 1 hour and 53 seconds. We crossed an hour. We were shooting for a half an hour, and we did twice as much. So that's pretty good.
Chalk that up as a win.
Chalk that up as a win. All right. See you later.